Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Manuel Graphics tutorial. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the low poly icy world tutorial. So this is what we'll be making today. Check the description for some downloads. You'll be downloading a few things, mainly a penguin image and a snow thing that I made in Photoshop and I can't bother to recreate in Gimp. So basically we're going to be making this in Blender and adding our final color corrections in Gimp. So we've got some good things going here. We've got some cool stylized mountains and trees here. We've got some nice stylized gingerbread houses. We've got some penguins going here, and we've got also our fir trees. So some of these techniques we've already done, and I won't be going over again, so I'll be going quite fast today's tutorial. So watch the previous tutorials and you'll get a better understanding of what we're doing. So anyway, as I said, we've got some simple penguins which use the low poly animals technique, and the fir trees here use the low poly fir trees that I've already done. The color corrections and like some of the lights here, and also the snow are added in Gimp. Other than that, we've got some pretty interesting stuff going here. This is some transparent water, etc. So let's begin. Let's open up Blender. So yep, here we go, Blender. Let's open this up. According to my screen size, I got a new cable for my monitor, so hopefully the colors are a lot brighter or something, I don't know. Anyway, the old cable was broken. So let's begin. So to start off, this is our default layout here, and we're going to hit B and select and delete those. We're then going to add a plane and scale this up. And we're then going to first set up our, I think we'll do the mountains first. So we're going into orthographic view front mode, and we'll go Shift A, and we're going to go add a cone, and our cones we're going to give 4 vertices, and that gives us a really cool effect here. As you can see, our cone, we're going to stretch this up and make it fatter. Make it fatter. And there we go. That's basically how I did the mountains. It's that simple, guys. And you guys can do it too. Since it's like that simple, it's just a couple of buttons and you've got some nice mountains. Keep that in proportion. Okay, so now we've got this one mountain here. We're just going to go onto top view and position these. So let's say I'm gonna have some mountains like so. Let me just move that over here, and let me just open that image up so I know what I'm looking for, because I made this quite a while ago. Where is it? Here we go. So we want our mountains are basically surrounding our hills and our villages. Like so. And I'll just Shift D to duplicate, and we'll just rotate these like so. Now, since they're all the same height, that's not really what we want. So we're going to front view, and we're going to do some scaling on the Z axis and push them down. Make sure your models are going through the floor, like so. And these mountains, we're just going to make sure they're pretty close together. Same with these ones. And that gives us some nice space to work with. Just for some future notice, our background, so let me just drag it over, our background here is also added in Gimp as well. You'll see what I mean when we come to render it. Okay, let's bring them forward, like so. Okay, so we've got some good things going here. Okay, so that's our mountains done. We're going to then make our hills. So to do that, I just added a icosphere. I brought it up and I flattened it down like a pancake, and I put it here. That's basically all I did to make these. So let's get positioning these. That's the time-consuming part. Just bring this up a bit. And some are bigger than others. Let's just keep that in mind. That's going to be our big center mountain. And then we're going to have some smaller ones around it, like that one here. Hit G to grab so you can just freely position these hill things. So basically Shift D and then click G in like top row, so you just move it like so. Shift D, G, like so. Just bring this up a bit. This is going to look a bit different from my original one, but it's going to, different is good. That's what the hell. Let's put that there, and we'll just. Okay, so we've positioned our little hills here. That's a bit too orderly here. We're going to put this guy back here. This guy around here. Bit too orderly still. There. Just push them down. Okay, looking good. We got a bit more hills than usual, but the main image is looking quite nice. So we're then going to work on our little lake at the front. So we'll set up our camera quickly so we know what we're doing. And let's bring our camera back. And then let's lower this. And we want our camera a bit further out. Let's just say that. We want to lift it up a bit. To rotate it on the x-axis and G. We want to and we're just going to zoom in a bit. Our focal length. That's around, oh, that's a bit too tall, that one. So we'll just bring him down. That's actually quite a nice camera. Okay, now we want to bring all our our models forward a bit because they're a bit too far away. scale them down a bit, and we'll just get all of our mountains here. Not mountains, hills, and push them back into the ground where they're meant to be. Okay, move these two guys across, and these three guys need to be rotated a bit more, pushed across and pulled back a bit. We've got some good things happening so far. Now these things need to be a bit bigger. They're too small since they are the main centerpiece, really. Okay, it's looking good. Now, we're going to make our little lake. And to do this, we're going to hit tab to go into edit mode and subdivide so we get shapes like this. And by the way, all the settings, like for the camera and stuff, you can change yourself. It doesn't have to be me to tell you what you want for your image. Okay, let's make this lake. So I'm going to subdivide it again. So we got tiny ones, and we're going to select face select mode, and I'm going to select a few faces using my C brush, and also just to randomize it a bit. And we're going to hit E to extrude. Bring that down, like so. So that's, just need to bring it up a bit more. There we go. So that's going to be our lake when I add the materials for that. The next step, I reckon, is we should start our penguin and then our house, because they're going to be the most time-consuming part. So let's work on our penguin. So remember how we set up our low poly animals tutorial? We need to add a empty image. So let's open our image, and I'll just go to my desktop and open up my penguin image. As you see, got a nice emperor penguin here. And we're going to use the same technique as last time. So let's do this. Let's scale this up. And we'll go into front view and orthographic mode. And center our penguin's backbone, so which will be around here, to our 3D cursor, just to make life easy. So there's going to be 3 main body parts for our penguin. We're going to have the 2 wings and the body. And of course our little toes, just for extra detail really. They're not that important because they're barely visible. But anyway, we're going to open a cylinder, give it 8 vertices, scale it down to about the width. The width of our penguin at this point on his body. So enter edit mode and hit B on our keyboard to select the top vertices, and we're just going to scale out. Hit E to extrude, scale out, hit E to extrude, scale a bit more, E to extrude, scale a bit more, and we just want to run our little cube here across our penguin's body, up across our penguin's body. This is where it starts curving up. It's a bit too big, that. No, it's a bit too ambitious there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Of course, being the viewer, you'd like to make it as perfect as possible because you are making this. And the final product of our, let's make, oh, that's move across, scale, move across, scale, E to extrude, move across, pull down, scale. Oh, that is, this is going to be the hardest bit. I remember when I'm making this, this was probably the hardest section. Getting our penguin's head right is possibly quite difficult. Perfect. I'm not going to speak much because I'm concentrating getting this penguin right. Just for my viewers, would I concentrate this much? Getting a penguin looking penguinish. Our penguin here has a very large beak, and that is looking, oh, I don't like his beak. Oh, crumbs, well. Let me just wait, I think I just deleted all that by accidentally pressing oh, to redo. Oh, please don't tell me I've just lost that. Oh, don't worry guys, it's all fixed. I'm fine with that beak, since I just almost lost the whole thing. It's all good. Oh, completely forgot about that key. Okay, now we're going to do our feet. Now, to do our feet, we need to select half, like that. That's not half. Go into edge select mode, and we'll select that. E, scale down. Okay, is it really? Okay, that's our feet done quite nicely. Actually, scale those down a bit more. Okay, there's our feet done nicely. In fact, it's not that it's not that wide. His feet aren't that spread apart yet. Oh, penguin's got fat legs. I think I liked it actually before. Yeah, that'll be fine. You got... I've done it again, guys. Don't tell me I've... Oh, no, I haven't. The mesh is still here. It's all good. I was just in wireframe mode and couldn't see it. Whew, too many scares. Too many scares. Okay. So now we're just going to sort out our wings here, and to do them we'll just simply add another cylinder. Gee, I'm having real trouble modeling this guy now. Not particularly liking it. flatten him out, enter edit mode, and begin to model this. We're just going to zoom in a bit to model this guy's wings. Knowing me, this tutorial is going to take a while. My track record of being fast is usually extremely slow in sort of everything. It's a bit off there, but I'm trying to do this as quick as possible with any reasonable outcome. And move that up. Rotating on the y-axis to make a little joint, and that wing is looking actually really nice, surprisingly. There we go. Push him in and flatten it on the x-axis. Rotate it on the y. Actually, does it need flattening? Okay. Mr. Penguin does. He needs to be flattened a bit. He's a bit too... Actually, no, he's actually looking quite good. They're both looking quite good, and we'll just shift D to duplicate and move it over to the other side. There's our penguin done so far. Now we'll just make our toes, and to do that I just went shift. We added a cylinder, rotated it on the x-axis, flattened it down, and I basically extruded the end here. Wait a second. Bit too big. 5 foot. Basically extrude the end there and scale it in. That's a good enough looking toe. There we go. Okay, let's hide our empty. Okay. And I've just noticed there's a huge gap here. Okay, let's enter our mesh. Try fix this. Let's just let's try this. Okay, basically all you have to do is hit F and it joins the two together. So we're just going to select those, hit F. This is just the easy fix. If you have a hole in your model, and there shouldn't have been a hole in there in the first place, but sometimes you just stuff up, and this is the easy fix basically. Okay, that's looking good. Let's move this guy's toes up, forward, across, till it actually hits the model. Here it is. Bring the toe forward, rotate it on the Z-axis so it's facing away, pull it in, Shift D to duplicate, move it across, and our penguin's looking really nice. Basically we're gonna leave him here, and I reckon, how many layers is he? Yeah, he's all of those, and we'll join them and rename them. These cones, I'm just gonna rename all my layers. I'll be back in a couple of seconds. Okay, so I'm back. I've renamed all my layers, and it's always good to name them so you actually know what things are, and you don't pick the wrong ones and stuff. So spend some time renaming your layers, as I should have done originally. Let me just look how we're doing for time. We're nowhere near finished. Okay, so the next step in the tutorial is we're just going to leave our penguin here and move to our next layer here. And let me just relocate my 3D cursor. And we're going to model our house. So we're going to add a cube. To make our roof, we just use a cylinder and we give it 3 vertices. Rotate it on the Z axis and bring it up. Scale it down so it's quite flat. Scale it across, scale it up, because we are making a gingerbread house. Scale it long ways. And bring this guy up. Scale it up a bit higher so it's got quite a spired roof and a bit too spired. Houses are looking good. Okay, to make the doors, I'm just going to subdivide this, select the faces, and work on a small door using my brush here. Bit too wide, don't you think? One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3. Bit. We want things to be symmetrical. There we go. So that's our door. I'm just going to extrude that thing a bit. Doorway has been fitted. Okay, we're going to make some quick windows. So if I go into side view, I'm then going to hit C key again, zoom in a bit first. My windows are going to be around this height, and they're going to be, of course you can make your windows in any way, shape or form you like. I'm just using the brush. I'd probably recommend making these using just cubes, but today we're doing things differently. And we're just going to go into front view, and we're just going to extrude them a bit like that. Control 3 to go into the next view, and where are they? They are 1. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 5 from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the start. think these are too small, to be honest. Yeah, let me check this. One, two, three, four, 5. There we go, perfect. If you make a mistake, just hold shift and just unbrush it. Like so. And go into front view, just extrude it like the same length. This is not the perfect method, but it's the method I'll use for today. So we're then just going to make our chimney now. And that should be the last bit of the house, of the modelling. And then we'll move on to material. Actually, no, we've got trees and then materials. Then lighting, and then we'll move on to the Gimp stuff. So we'll then come back here and we're going to add a cube. Make it a chimney shape. Everyone knows what a chimney looks like, hopefully. Move it up. Now to make a hole in our chimney, I'm just going to subdivide the top here, select the top 4 like that, and just extrude it down. And a bit too big. There we go. Chimney's looking nice. Now we're just going to add another cube. Cube. We're going to make this cube into a brick sort of look. And I got this technique or this look from, I didn't like steal it, but you know, I got the inspiration from Will P Concepts. He, on one of his models, he had like a house with bricks, except the bricks weren't part of the material, they were sort of extruding out. Thought it was a really cool technique, so I decided to just use it, just add a bit of difference in the models. Okay, to make the pattern I did, I'll need to move this across, and this needs to be smaller, and we'll go Shift D, and we'll move it down, across, and Shift D, move it across. These bricks are too big. Shift D, we'll start again. I'm in wireframe mode so I can actually see what I'm doing. Like so, and Shift D that way. Like so. That's like the basic concept of it. Just copied all those and I'm just gonna duplicate them. And I'm just gonna move them across like so, and I just switch them around a bit so that can come over here and that can come up, and Shift D, just move it across and like so, and these are way too out, just need to pull them back in a bit. Shift D, and we'll just rotate them like that. And we'll move them down a bit. Okay, that's our chimney done. And that should be our house done, actually. Okay, we'll add the snow to the house when we're doing materials. Okay, so we'll model our trees now. Our first tree is just a cone, scaled up like so. that's basically our first tree. Obviously, that is way too wide for our trunk. So that is our first tree. It's a bit too long. That's tree 1. And to make the fir tree, everyone knows what to do if they watch my tutorial. I'm just going to do it really quickly. So I just added 3 loop cut and slides to a cylinder with 8 vertices. And then I'm just going to scale this up. I'm going to select my top here. Sorry, yep. You don't add the cuts yet, you scale the top, like so. So we've got a cone top, then we add 3 loop cut and slides, then we add another one, drag down, scale out. Another one, drag down, scale out. Another one, drag down, scale out. And our final one, drag down, scale out. And I want our fir trees to be quite stubby, quite cartoonish. He's a bit too wide, so I'm just going to scale him down a bit. He's still too wide. I want him to be reasonably fat. Okay, now we're going to select our vertices here. Hit C on our keyboard. Select our little faces like that. Drag down a bit. There's our fir tree. Just Shift D and we'll just move this across like so. Okay, now we've modelled everything we need to model, and basically we're going to work on the materials now. The materials shouldn't take that long, but we're going to start with this fir tree. So the main proportion of the fir tree, make sure in cycles, we're going to call this let's give this a bit of a greenish colour. Make sure we give our thing a viewport colour. Let's just lower that. To make the snow for this, we need to go into face select. Select all the faces. So if I go into wireframe, we just grab our C key. And we basically make a new one. Call this snow. We'll just make it pure white, which it is already. We'll assign. And to make the trunk, we just make one called trunk. Give it a brown. Like so. Now we'll give this the trunk. We'll give this the leaves, and we'll subdivide this and go to Z. Select those. Select 1, 2. And we'll give them a snow. Oh, crumbs. Sign. So that's, oh my gosh, just realised my trunk was huge. My poor tree has a huge abnormal trunk. There we go. So that's our trees done. So I'm just going to hit our B key. Just going to join this together, and I'm simply going to call this fir tree. join those, and I'm going to call this object pine tree, because he's... So there's those two. We're just going to keep them on that layer right now. We'll come back to the house. We'll do the penguin first for the house. So the penguin's material is penguin body, and that is of course in dark grey, because if we put it black it looks terrible. A bit darker than that. It's like an almost a grey colour, almost a black colour. So that as penguin body. Penguin body. Now for the chest of our penguin, I simply got my brush like so, and I gave it the snow, and assigned that. And for the feet, I'm just going to give it grey. Of course grey, because we'll need this for both the feet and our smoke. Now for this, if you wanted to rig up your penguin, you can do so and give it some cool postures and stuff. But we're just going to keep it like so. Click join. We'll call this guy the penguin. Okay, that's that. Now let's make our houses. So the main colour of the house is a light timber colour. So I'll just call this timber. It's a light grey. It's a light brown. Let's give this the timber colour. We're going to give this the grey colour. Okay, now this is the most difficult bit with this one. We're going to make a maroon colour. Bricks. We'll call it bricks because we're going to use it for the bricks, but we're also going to be using it for our window and our door. So for the bricks, it's pretty simple. We're just going to join them all together first. I'm just going to do them all in one huge bulk because we're lazy. And I'm going to give these the bricks material. Okay, now this is the difficult part when it comes to the house. We need to find where the door is, which it's right here. And give it the bricks material. The only problem is our sides here aren't that brick material. So we're just going to have to brush down and over like that. This is time consuming and a bit of a pain, if I don't say myself. There's probably an easier way to do this, but being the Blender novice I am, we won't be able to do a quick way. So I'm just going to not do the sides of our windows here, but you know what to do because you're going to work hard and achieve a cool effect. So I'm just going to get our brush. Doesn't matter if you get a bit of it. Just assign that. So I'm just going to leave you guys for a sec while I just do all these materials for this. Okay, so I've done all the materials for the house, so we can just select our B key and join that together, and of course give this the name house. Okay, so we've given materials to everything out of there, and we're now going to give materials to our mountains and hills and flooring and such and such. and just okay, so let's start with these. So to do the mountains, again we're going to front view. We'll just give them a mountain color. Being mountains, they're going to get the mountain color. Give them a medium grey like so. And we're going to subdivide them until we get these really nice, this peak here. Like so, and we're going to give this the snow color and a sign. Thinking about it, this would have been easier if we just did this at the start, but didn't plan ahead, and we end up just giving everything materials now. Give this snow. Okay, we're almost done these mountains. One more left, and the rest is pretty easy in the blender section. Okay, for our floor here, we're just going to give it a new material called floor. I've got a hex code I want to enter. 223735 3F. Sorry, what am I saying? That's probably a bit too dark, isn't it? It's this color. This is the color, yeah. Okay, for our hills, we're going to give it the material of hill. Give it a moderate green. Something like so. Okay, this is going to be as I said, there's probably an easier way to do this, but I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe I should do that for the next one, so we don't have to waste my time. Okay, we're going to make a quick water material. I think it's a mixed shader I used. Transparent. Let's have a preview so I know what I'm doing. And a glossy. That's way too enough. There we go, I'm pretty sure that was it. Okay, good. Let's stop positioning our objects. Before we go on, I need to add snow to our building. Okay, to add snow to our building, we select the roof. Since the roof only has a small amount of faces, we select that, we subdivide it twice, and we basically get our brush. Not a brush, we don't want a brush. I'm just going to select those. We can use our brush on this side. Go into front view, extrude. And we can basically give this the snow. There we go. The house is looking great. Okay, we're going to start off positioning our penguin. So move him by hitting M to our first layer. Go into top view, scale him down. Now he's way too big still. Okay, we want to bring Mr. Penguin forward, or Mrs., doesn't really matter, and just start positioning them near their lake. Scale him. He's the babby for Mrs. Penguin or Mr. to look after. Basically, I'm going to add one in the water, because since our water is transparent, it gives a really nice effect. And we'll I had one diving in, but it didn't turn out that too good, so we'll just leave our penguins like that. Okay. What? We're on 54 minutes. This is just slightly ridiculous. Okay. Our next step is we're gonna position our houses. So move your houses to your first layer here. Scale them down a lot. And we'll position them. And before we even do our houses, we've got this snow to do on our thing, on our hills. I completely forgot about that. So you can make a star shape like I did there, or you can extrude that up as well. There. Or you can just do the first bit. So I'll come back to you guys when I've got them all looking like this, and all my houses positioned such, since we're running very much over time. Okay, so we've got this looking good and nice. So the last bit to our scene is basically add our trees, and a quick notice for you guys: you can add some smoke if you like, coming out the chimneys, but today I just won't add it to this bit of the render, because I've already got a render ready to apply our effects. So let's just move both of these trees to our first layer here, and we simply want to position these as usual. So when positioning our trees here, we're just going to rest them basically on top of our mountains and stuff. Top of our hills, not mountains. And Okay. Okay, so we're just positioning our trees, and I'll come back to you guys when I've positioned all my trees. Okay guys, I've positioned my trees all accordingly, and now we're just going to quickly set up our render settings. So we want 1920 by 1080. We want to have transparent on, sampling, you want your samples on 200, and now I'm just going to quickly add the lighting. We're going to add a lamp, a sun, bring this guy up, and for the size of the shadow we want 0.3. Sun, we're just going to let's just see how it looks when I just rotate, when I just have it like this. Very quick render. Okay, it looks really nice. Of course you'd fill it in places like here and stuff, but other than that it's looking really nice. Let's pull this up. So let's give it a quick render again. Okay, so you can set up the lamp where you like. Other than that, just fill in trees and stuff. Obviously this isn't all good yet, so we're going to after you've rendered it, we want to open up Gimp, so I'll just close this for now. Remember to render on 200 samples and with a transparent background. So we're going to get our render out. So after you've saved your render from Blender, we're going to open it in Gimp and do its editing and color correction. So I'm just going to open. I'm just going into my original place where I had it, and just get it out. Where is it? Here we have it. So this was the original I did. This was the original. So as you see, it's got smoke and stuff, and you guys can add that to your liking. But the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to add a curves adjustment. So we're going to bring it up and bring it down a bit, like here. We're adding one like this, like so, and we're just going to, in our brightness contrast, set this to 26 and the contrast to 30. See that? And we're just going to add another curves. So I'm bringing that up. Like so, and we'll add another brightness and contrast. We'll leave it like so. We just need to go into our levels and ramp up our white. Like so. Okay, now the next step is we're going to simply grab, using our color picker, this color here. We're going to make a new layer underneath, and we're going to call this layer background. Okay, we're then going to just fill it in with that color. So as you see, it looks really nice and clean. Okay, we're going to add a bit of light and a bit of shadow. For the light, I'm going to be using a paintbrush. I'm going to be using the soft brush and scaling this all the way up to like something like that with a white brush and just plonk it there. Bit up a bit. Like so, and I'm going to set this mode to soft light. Like so, that gives like really nice lighting effect here. Okay, I'm going to then add a new layer, and we're just going to call this dark. See, shadow. It's not really shadow, but it's just a bit of a light. Was that a... yeah, anyway. In this time we're using black and scaling this down. We'll zoom out to around 50% and we'll just go along the bottom here. Just to show the dark areas. Okay, like so. And we'll set this to overlay at around... 47%. Okay, it's looking nice. And there is a download I attached in the downloads folder that you downloaded. There is a snow image that I made in Photoshop, and I just give it for a nice complimentary bit of snow to your image. So that's basically the low poly icy world tutorial in Blender and Gimp. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I shall catch you in my next video tutorial.